And it looks like we should be live. Welcome, everybody. I'll hand it over to the man himself, King Rune Song.
It's great to be here. Great to see everybody in the crowd and the audience for tuning in. Outside of Harry and myself, we also have Olmo. You want to introduce yourself? Say hello.
Hello, everyone. Always a pleasure being here.
Olmo, what do you normally do for us that people? I think not a lot of people know
Right.
how else you contribute outside the panels. What else do you do?
Well, it's in my name. I'm the YouTube editor, so I work on everything that's like YouTube related content. That's most likely me, unless it's like unedited stuff. Um, so I mean, we have a few videos in the pipeline. I can't say too much about it, but we have one about Rivendell that Vi has been working on because she's a very big fan of Elrond and Robert Arame as a whole. So yeah, we have a few videos ready for you guys, and I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
I just think a lot of people might not know outside of the panel work that people do, like the other hats people wear on the team. And Olmo does tons and tons of the video editing. So huge shout out to him. A lot of what y'all see uploaded onto the channel has gone through his computer at some point before being live for you guys. Now, speaking of a lot
Mhm,
of hats, there's a lot of ground to cover in
definitely.
the previous episode to kind of go over what we are predicting will happen in episodes 6, 7, and 8, because it's hard to know with Prime Video and Rings of Power, especially. You might get dwarves one episode and then not get them the next episode, or you might get a plot line in one episode and then you not see it for 2 episodes. Um, so I think just some
Mhm.
of the bigger things that happened in the fifth episode. We had it's the Halls of Stone. The dwarves had their moment. Daddy Durin was able to show the dwarves where they needed to dig to be able to bring the sun back down into Moria. So you have helpers in the unseen world? Yes, we do. Yeah, almost one of those unseen world helpers for sure. Um,
Unseen World. I'm a Vala.
yeah. I just saw one of the comments up on the YouTube
Yeah,
chat.
yeah,
I
yeah.
figured I'd shout it out.
Storyteller. Yeah.
Um, I I haven't been on the panels, but this was my favorite episode of the season by far. I actually don't even think that it's close. I originally thought it was episode 2. It's very clearly episode 5 at this point. With all the dwarven action that we got, with the Númenorian storyline really picking up at this point, and us getting to see some actions and consequences for different things, to get Tom Bombadil and the Stranger, get more of that plot line. Just it feels like everything's really at the point where it's as far as you can go in this season of advancing the story before we just hit that cutoff and go, the rest of the season's going to be loaded with action. And I guess if we're doing a prediction stream for what's
Mhm.
coming up, we probably do need to talk about the elephant in the room that is it's been advertised everywhere that there is going to be like a 3 episode battle coming up.
Yep.
So like the how that will take place, who's going to be involved, who's showing up when. A lot of that is like really cool to debate and discuss. Obviously, we know elves have to be a big part of it, orcs have to be a big part of it, but how does Sauron navigate through? How does Adar navigate through getting through the elves and getting to Sauron? How will Galadriel get to Sauron? How will Sauron weasel his way out of all this? It's a lot to think about and go over, and then also think about, do we think everybody lives to the end of the season? Do we think certain
Yep.
people are going to die? Harry, do you have any predictions on who you think we may be losing? Any big actors? Anything where like maybe it'll kind of end the show on a big banner moment or something?
I think Banner could be coming, but I don't think it is the next one. But no, I think it's interesting you mentioned. I know there's been a whole discussion as well around actors dying and whatnot. But sorry, characters, not actors. That'd be totally
Yeah,
different.
very different thing.
Very different thing. But um, for the next one, I don't know because the big question here is: do you think the battle's probably going to start? Because I think maybe we might see a bit of it near the end, but I don't think we'll get properly into the action until 7. So I think we will just see. Oh, we got a little right there. But I think um in the meantime, in my opinion, I don't think anybody will. A major character will die in the next one. Personally, Uma, what do you think? Do you think, of course, we have the two main people surrounding all this? Do you think they will cause anyone else, mainly the person on the left?
You mean like in the next episodes? I
Yeah,
don't think that anything. I think the next episode is gonna be. It's probably is going to either end. I mean, they're going to cut the storylines outside of the big one, which is Eregion, obviously. So I think they're going to just like finish that, wrap that up, and then probably the episode can end something along the lines of like the first catapults hit, because we've seen it in the trailer, right? We've seen like the
yeah.
first catapults hitting the city and stuff like that. So I think that that might be a cool way to finish the episode in some way.
That makes sense. I
That
think.
would be. So you think
Hmm.
we're free of killing in 6, but we'll get some deaths over in 7 and 8. I think somebody I'm worried about losing this season, just based on the story and the plot line that they've had, is Arondir. When you think about how he's
Ooh.
lost Bronwyn, and then how Theo and him have been interacting this season, I worry a little bit that like it's going to be his sole mission to want to get back at Adar, who led the group that originally sort of poisoned Bronwyn to her death, that has caused this rift between him and Theo. He's killed and destroyed a lot of the land that he used to be kind of like overseeing, as the elves were at that point. He's taken so much from him that I worry that they're going to get into some sort of confrontation at some point, and one of the two of them will have to die at that point. And I definitely worry that our boy Arondir won't make it through this whole season, and he is an original character, so it's definitely possible it could happen.
Mm.
Alma, what do you think? You think Arondir is going to make it the whole season?
Actually, that's something I haven't thought of because just there's so many storylines and plot lines, and obviously Rickon is taking the foreground in the entirety of the season. I hope that Arondir is gonna make it to season 3. I kind of see him eventually either dying protecting Theo, because I would like wrap that story up in some way, whether it's like at this season or the next season or further down the line or something. I mean, in some way, we've all heard the crazy theories of Theo being either like one of the Nazgul or like one of the or the king of the undead and stuff like that. I think in a way, him sacrificing himself for it only to be downwards for Theo would be actually so cool, because it would just show like the degradation of the character and how he completely messes it up. So I kind of like that.
Mm.
Harry, what do you think? Do you think Arondir is safe?
I think, as you see, we've seen from him so much. He's always in action. He's always in the battle, and I feel like because of that, he's going to be most exposed, probably alongside Elrond, to a lot of the troubles. And I feel like that could potentially lead him to getting in some trouble. Because at the same time, I know we have to balance out. I think we're going to get a lot of action from him as well, and also being on the battle sets in the battle scene. So I feel like, yeah, I think it could be a potential thing, and I dearly hope not, because I think as North he's been amazing. And again, no, Rune I think's got it on spot on here. I think he will survive but get injured by the Troll or Adar. That's what I'm thinking as well personally. But yeah, no, I know you're going. Well, sorry, your opinions. What do you think on Aron? Did you think he'll survive? I think you've already said that. You think he
Yeah,
won't. It's
I
interesting.
really I hope he does, because I like the character. I think he plays a very elven elf. I think he's done a great job. But like you said, with him being consistently in the action, at some point it's kind of like, if you're a fighter, you go into the ring as many times as you can. Eventually somebody's going to knock you out, somebody's going to knock you down, so you keep throwing yourself out there. You don't stay undefeated for forever. The
Exactly.
dwarves don't win every battle. They should, but they don't. um so if he I'm just expecting some deaths to happen, some of these big moments. And obviously, again, everybody knows at some point the banner is coming, but I don't want that to be the only one. And I don't think we can just wait for Valendil, RIP, for getting stabbed in the back. That's probably not going to be the only big death. I don't think any of the dwarves should die. Um, Yeah. Also, if you don't follow him on social media, he's been interacting with the fans a ton over the past couple days, and I know he just did like a shout out to the fans post for sending him a bunch of love for his role in the show and his performance. He did a really, really awesome job on the show, and even as a group that sometimes hears a lot of leaks and rumors, and maybe this has floated across our desk at some point, when I was watching, I was so immersed in it, I completely forgot about any leak or rumor when I'm watching the show. And when he got pieced up right in the back, I was shocked. Like I was big eyed. And the sound effects that they used, the thud that they did to put the blade through him, bro, that whole thing was wild. As I'm talking about who should die, or Kemen should die. Somebody has to avenge Valandil and get Kemen back. Maybe stab him in the back too. Also in the front. Like the scene at the beginning of the show where all the Uruks surround Sauron and stab the crap out of. Somebody should do that to Kemen now. They should cut his hair and then stab him in the chest repeatedly like that.
Cut his
He
hair.
deserves it for his role for sure.
Cut his hair, not the hair, not the L'Oreal hair. Don't do that to him.
Yeah,
As a
from
brand
teasers,
endorsement.
we
No,
also know at some point Damrod has to show up and do his thing, which there's not been too much Damrod in the season so far. So when he shows up, it's got to be chaos. I'm expecting people to die on both sides of the group from Damrod's actions. Elves, orcs, doesn't matter if you're in the way. Damrod's got to show up and cause some chaos with this theme music playing in the background. I do wonder if we're going to have a Gil-galad v. Damrod moment, because the actor who plays Gil-galad is also voicing Damrod. So it's kind of cool to have like a back and forth banter with himself on screen in a way. I think that would be kind of cool. But again, maybe that's where Arandir will have his final moments. Maybe it'll be Damrod that finally gets to him.
And you know what? Again, I think something I definitely agree with on both accounts is we do need to see now more Gil-galad and more Damrod. And as we go to the lovely Benjamin Walker right here, what do you predict with
High
him
King.
next? High King, there we go, the king himself. What do we predict about how his involvement's going to be in the battle? Do you think he's going to want to go? Do you think he still thinks, the threats Adar and Mordor? What's
I
going to
think
be the...
based on his season 1 and season 2 arc, for where we are up to now, I think he's very much in, I'm tired of letting the kids try to do the right thing. It's time for me to step in and show out in my glory with my awesome looking weapon, sick outfit
It's
on
time
the
for Daddy.
battlefield. Yeah, it's time for Gil-gadaddy to show up and show out, and hopefully he gets to do that. Hopefully whatever combat they do put him in, hopefully he does look really good and cool, because I think the character's caught a lot of flack over the portrayal in season 1, so it'd be awesome to see some of that redeemed in season 2. And I think he's been on an upward trajectory anyway, but it'd be really cool to see him show out and have like a nice moment on the battlefield. And there's my boy Damrod on the
With
screen.
him,
I really wish I
yep.
could hang out with him.
Exactly, man. I wonder if we'll ever see any cosplay of Damrod. That would be very, very interesting to see.
honestly, just barking shirtless.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
You don't need to go that deep. Like just barking shirtless and
Yeah. If I could just get a belt with some skulls on it
yeah,
and some
I was
ropes for
about
my
to say the same.
everything
Exactly.
else looks pretty anatomically correct, I'm losing my hair just like that. You're such a punk.
Oh my god.
Do you
Fair
think
enough.
Galadriel is going to be able to join into the combat?
Good question, because here she is right here. Will we? Because actually, we did actually see. Sorry, if you guys can continue talking, I can actually bring something up from today that we can actually talk about. Because Prime Video released a whole few minute scene, I believe, with
Oh,
yeah.
it shows you how bad of a job I've been doing shilling that I've been missing all this.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, it's there. the whole scene, and of
Oh,
course, for copyright reasons, we can't go into it. One might say,
can't play it. We can skip through it, right?
yeah. So let's start off at the beginning here. Food on the table. What does Adar
Which
say?
I would like to point out that if you go back to season one, where they filmed these two together because it was captured the other way, the angles that they film at is like the opposite from how they did in season one, which is cool. But also in contrast to season one, she didn't treat Adar very well. He was just basically in like a shed, tied up, hands behind his back, not very comfortable. Where he has
Mhm.
her, he's treating her to a feast. It looks like
Yep.
they're eating pretty good. Like he is treating her much better than she treats him.
Let's get a close up on the food.
You know what this makes me, it reminds me of? I mean, it has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings or Tolkien or whatever. There's like this
Thanksgiving.
scene in the Black Pearl where
Yeah.
the captain has like, was it Elizabeth Swan, I think her name is, like captured,
Mhm.
and he forces her to eat it. Like it gives me that vibe, like the eerie kind of like you're supposed to eat, but at the same time you don't know if that stuff is poisoned or if you're gonna die by choking on something or something like that. Yeah,
Ah,
Mhm.
gives me kind
he
of
could
that
be like
vibe.
messing with her mentally. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Indeed. And we actually, before we move on, to this interesting conversation. Actually, here we go. You seem intent on finding Sauron. Mickey Mouse mentions in the live chat. Do you think Galadriel will disclose Halbrand's true identity to Adar? Uma, what do you think?
Um, yeah, that's a good
Maybe during
question.
this conversation.
I don't think she would have the guts to do it, to not use another term. Because it's just, if she's hidden that from Gil-galad, right? Like why would she tell that to literally a guy that she tied up 20 minutes earlier, so to
I
speak,
think she did. I think she did end up telling Varkana Smog in episode 1. Didn't
Oh yeah,
she?
yeah, right,
Tell
yeah,
her-
right, right. But
Yeah,
like
she did.
she had this sense of yeah, but
Shame.
she has this sense of shame and like
Makes
disgust about
sense.
herself, and still, I know that in some degree, like the enemy of your enemy is your friends, kind of thing. But yeah, you still don't want to mess with a guy that like he doesn't look healthy. He doesn't go out and touch some grass. That's what I'm saying.
I think I can see where you're coming from. Like she finally ponied up and told Gil-galad, and only because she was being confronted by Gil-galad and Elrond. So really, she didn't really have much of a choice anymore, other than to finally admit that. So to have somebody that you're deeming, and they're supposed to be friendly, you've got your enemy in front of you. Are you going to give up that information? But I think considering her predicament, she has to give something up in order to finally be able to get out of here and go rejoin the other forces or join up with Adar in. Actually, I just can't see her joining with him because he's still sieging the city where a whole bunch of her people are. So she's not going to want to support that. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe she gives up Sauron's true identity in hopes that instead of them invading and raiding and razing the entire city, they'll just focus on getting Sauron at that point. Maybe that's the nice little happy ending conclusion that they'll get there.
Happy ending indeed. And while we talk about this, there's been a lot of things recently online about potentially not the relationship between. I know everyone's talking about the relationship between Galadriel and everyone at this point, but these two since season 1, do you think there's something, not going on, but like they seem like not a friendship, but do you feel like throughout the season they're going to start, gathering mutual respect for each other? Something where, so I'm not saying it's romantic, because again, I think anything with Galadriel, talk to a person ends up, romance, but do you think we could see a potential scenario where she's almost not supportive but understands Adar? I think. Does anybody have any opinions on that? Yes, no?
Almo, you want to take it away before I jump in?
Sure. I hope not. I don't,
Hope not.
the way that Galadriel is portrayed in the books, and so far how she's been I mean, no disrespect towards anything or anyone, but like so far she's been seen as like romantically unavailable. Like it's not her focus, right? It's like since the
Mhm.
very first episode of the first season, the only thing that she was talking about is like avenging her brother and like killing Sauron because her he took her brother away from her and stuff like that. So it got to an extent where we didn't even get Celeborn in the story. I mean, we're gonna
Yeah,
probably, maybe, possibly, hopefully get him in the later seasons. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for eventually. But it's a work in progress kind of thing, and she's not in a mindset where, when you're filled with hatreds or like disgust, you're not gonna be someone like, oh, you know what, I wanna kissy with him or her. Like it just doesn't work like that.
I think again, I also agree. I don't think it'll ever be like a romantic type thing, but I think Adar is doing his best with, again, look at the table in front of them. It's loaded with food. He has repeatedly, she had her or his blade at his throat and could have killed him, and he was like, I'm not here to like hold you captive and treat you poorly. I want you as an ally. He's doing his best to show himself and his Uruks in a different light to her, so that maybe, just maybe not friends, but maybe she'll start to develop some sort of respect for their situation and what they're going through in terms of the show. Um, like, so maybe they could get there, but no, I don't think they'll ever be true friends. Definitely not lovers or anything like that. She's definitely gonna. We'll get Celeborn in the show at some point, and then people can ship the two of them together. And then fingers crossed. I guess we can read the
Mhm.
books and see if they work out.
Yeah, time will tell. Time will tell. But let's
Hold
look
on.
at some
Somebody
things.
said
Yeah.
the Gal Sauron kiss is gonna be fire. No, no, no. There better not be a kiss between Galadriel and Sauron. Not in a flashback. Not in a time warp thing. Not in a mental. Nothing. Nothing.
Okay, but hear
Not
me
about
out.
that life.
Hear me out. Flashback:
Mhm.
Waldrick and Galadriel, and they have like they have offsprings. How about that?
All out. But if they did, yes, it would be fire. I mean, honestly, come on,
That's like
it would be.
extremely good genes.
Millian wrote, feels like she's so consumed by her own
Yeah.
vengeance journey that she kind of ignores the big red flags to get to her end game. Completely agree. Like
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
disagree with
That's
any bit of
Yeah,
this take
literally
here. She
look at
does
the
seem
text
very,
on top and then the comment. Look, consumed. Right here. Even Adar saying it,
yeah,
what you're saying.
yep.
maybe
But
he's
yeah,
a
sorry.
Dar. Who knows?
Melly, no,
Mm.
she's Melly. That's technically Galadriel's, I guess, not like godmother in a sense, like 'cause she taught her so much. So maybe it's like wisdom from her parent in a way.
Can Sauron and Adar kiss? Yes, please. I would stand for that. Please. You just
Yeah.
have like a moment. There's
it
always
would it
this
would get
moment.
into
No,
Yeah.
crazy fanfic territory, but yeah,
no, there's
yeah.
always this moment in a battle where everyone's fighting around you, and then like, yeah, they just hug each other and then they kiss. I
Yeah.
think I would really like that.
So
And then
Harry,
And you know,
Waldrick.
sorry?
do you think? I think you kind of touched on it earlier, but when it comes to the big 3 episode battle, do we think as a group, as a panel, that when they say 3 episode battle, does it mean like 5 minutes of this episode, 10 minutes of this episode, and then 10 minutes of the final episode, or do we think that it's going to take up the bulk of the episodes? Because we still have dwarven story to get through, Númenorian story to get through, this stranger story to still get through, on top of seeing this battle play out, and they've got to still be able to set up like what's going to come in a future season. It's like that's a lot of
Yeah.
content to put in a show when you're advertising a 3 episode battle.
Well, I saw in the FOF Discord early in the day reference to someone who's potentially seen the episodes, reference to the Battle of Blackwater, as compared to, like the Battle of Winterfell or even Helm's Deep, whereby Battle of Blackwater is probably one of the best battles in the show. You only see 5 to 10 minutes of it. So I feel like with a show like this, there's so many storylines. I think by nature, compared to, like the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit, where he had maybe 2 to 3 storylines at most, this has 7. I think there's going to have to be some leeway. I don't think people will see as much, in my opinion. I don't think people will see. It's been in the press and the media, 3 episode battle, 2 episode battle. But I think it's going to be, as you mentioned, maybe about 10 to 15 minutes of one episode, 15 to 10 again in the next episode, then a conclusion in episode 8. I feel like that is how it's going to be structured. And I think it's going to be a battle of moments. And those moments can still be great. And I think, I think there will be some cool moments with that throughout it. And yeah, it will be exciting to see how, again, this all plays out. But I don't think it's going to be, 1.5, 2 hours worth of battle. At least that's
Gotcha.
where I'm at. What do you think? Do you agree, disagree, Varkin? What do you think?
No, I think I can get on board with that. I think expecting if there's 3 hours of content left in this season, expecting there to be like 2 hours of battle would be quite something. But it would also mean that all the other plot lines would just be getting like their 5 to 10 minutes, and that's how it's gonna wrap. And
Yeah.
I just don't think that's enough time for the others. So it's just being realistic about what a 3 episode battle means. It's not like the entire episodes are just going to be this big battle going on nonstop, one after the other after the other. And like what is Sauron going to be doing through all this? Because he's going to have to figure out a way to still get his rings and still get out of the city, while there's going to be elves and orcs and hopefully dwarves. Just based on the story that we know, hopefully dwarves show up. But with everybody kind of coming together, how will he be able to kind of skip town and be able to get out of here while, getting what he wants, which is to get the rings from Celebrimbor before we get a Celebrim banner or a Celebrim kebab or any of those cool moments.
Yeah. So is it almost, in a sense, how will Anatar almost achieve his goals throughout the battle? I feel
Yeah, and
like is the
with
big
this
thing
war going
here.
on, where can he be? Where can he go
Well,
to make sure Celebrimbor has the time to finish these, to make sure that the elves in the city don't figure out that he's Sauron,
yeah,
and still be able to, once the invading force comes in, he has Galadriel, he has Adar, and then once the elves inside figure out he's Sauron, that's a lot of
yeah.
bodies targeting you.
Well, that's a very good question. I feel like it just depends on how the other ring making will go, because we know the dwarven rings were forged, correct?
Yes, yep, and
I
forged,
think.
and they've been advertised to the emissaries of the other dwarven leaders.
Hmm. So that means we've got the 9 rings of men, and we know in the trailer we hear him say, "Give me the 9." So, in my opinion, I think this whole thing revolves around how the ring making the 9 will go. Because if it goes quickly, he can just get out of there. Fucking sorry, not go and kill a dog. go and kill a dog, and then sort out Galadriel. But if Celebrimbor potentially, whether he finds out Sauron, he's been under enchantment the whole time, or under not a spell, but under his wit and under his deception. If he finds that out, it could be a bit hard. I think it all depends around how the rings are forged, and if so, that can cause problems for Anatar, because again, Adar is the one who's leading the host into the city.
Yep.
And I feel like with that, how is he going to be happy? Adar, because there was lots of mention, potential mention that they're saying to Adar, you're doing his bidding. You're the one who's actually what Sauron wants. And maybe this is, as you see the guy on the left right there, this is what he wants. He wanted Adar attacking the city and having Region 4. And it will be very interesting. Again, my opinion, it all comes down to the 9 rings of men. In my opinion. Umo? Sorry, and before we get to Umo, sorry, I think on the previous point, so we don't forget some people in the chat. So when we were talking about the episode battle and how that's going to work across the episodes, Rune says they will probably build up a big battle episode by folding in the existing character time so that Elrond time becomes battle, then Wonder time becomes battle. Yep, I think that's a very good point. I think that's, again, something how that could work. Hello, Divine. Can't always great to see Gregory in the chat as well. And yes, we can talk about Numenor in a second as well. And Mickey Mouse mentions, I feel like the elves forging the rings won't be aware of the start of the battle. I also feel like Sauron will leave the battle to Adar and Gilgalad. So we think that potentially the elves in maybe in the forge don't know the battle's even happening around them. Do you think Sauron can create such a enchantment? Uma, what do you think? Do you think they could be creating the rings while everyone else is going around going crazy?
Yeah, I think so. I might be living in the Lulu land a bit, but I mean, no, technically I'm living in the deep actually. But no, I'm still kind of hoping for the season 3 whodunits kind of thing where you're gonna guess who's gonna become the new nine and stuff like that, because the nine are a lot more important than with no offense to Varking. Um, the nine are a lot more important than the three or the seven. I mean, except the one, obviously. So it's more important that we somewhat get attached to the wearers of the nine, or at least we know who they are, because it has always been like a big question mark of who are the nine. And I mean, Tolkien did it on purpose, right? The only thing we know is that there's one that's called Camol, and that's the only thing we know is Camol the Easterling, and then the Wish King of Angmar, and we don't even know the identity of those people, right? So it would be really sick if throughout the next season, that I mean, that at the end of the season, Sauron, or rather, Anatar escapes with the rings, and then you see him like going from spot to spot throughout the season, like uh maybe even already giving out the rings but not showing it on screen. I think that would be really sick if by the end of the next season, or like midway point kind of thing, you just see like, I don't know, if we go with the Theo idea, you just see Theo opening his hand and you see that he has a ring in his hand and he hasn't told anyone about it, you know. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
And to even build off that before we go back to the chat, look at this scene here. I always thought, why have we not seen this scene yet so far? It's
Uh,
perfectly in a Region, we're quite far into the season. I'm sure this would have been an establishing shot, but is it to me that everything looks a bit too perfect here?
y-
You know.
yes, but no. And
Mm-hmm.
now that we're talking, and again, we've only got a few episodes left. We know the battle is going to be happening. Maybe this is before the battle. Maybe this is maybe this is the last time Celebrimbor walks out of the forge area and sees his city in sort of peace and harmony, and the statue still standing. But like, what's giving me pause about that is everything does look really clean and crisp, and everything looks perfect except for his dress. I don't know what you call this outfit,
Yeah.
because if you look at below his butt, if you look below the plot, it's like brownish. It looks like it's worn and it's gone through some stuff, and it's not as sort of clean as the rest of his outfit is. So it feels like he's been, or again, maybe this could just be a scene where it just shows how hard at work he's been on the rings, that he's finally coming out here and seeing the real world again for the first time in forever, because he's just kind of been working away at the forge in front of the fire, trying to make rings, dealing with Anatar's manipulation and deception and all that. It's probably a lot to go through. So maybe he just needed to come out for a quick little breather before he goes back inside. But yeah, like we know that this has to get attacked fairly soon. So hopefully this will be in the next episode, and this can be happy times. Ideally, nothing happens to the animals on screen. I don't want the elven dogs to get hurt.
Definitely not.
Yeah, they're like
Mm-hmm.
the scene stealers here for me right now. Not this
Yeah.
little lovers couple on the
And
left
oh
where
my
they're
god,
touching each other's faces.
somebody's found out that this exact same dog was on the Numenor set in the background in Numenor. So maybe these dogs are, the breeders all over the
Ah,
world, it seems.
yeah. Look at them getting extra work in, doubling up.
Yeah,
You put
yeah.
two credits to your name: Elven dog, Numenorian dog. That's perfect.
But the
Dog.
real question is like, what do elven dogs eat? Do they eat lembas or like meats?
Oh,
That
they're
that's
Mm.
that
Lembasy. Hmm.
That's the question.
But it's
Indeed
still
is.
daylight out. The scene looks pretty. Everything seems like it's going, and there's perfect harmony. So
Yeah, indeed. And we'll maybe come
yes,
back to this later on. It could be an interesting thing. But Gregory, as we know, he's in chat. He raised an interesting point, and I'll share this to you guys and the comments as well. Is there a world in which Adar snags a ring, at least for a bit? In the next episode, well, we know Elrond has it, and we know Galadriel is captured. Maybe there's a scenario where maybe Galadriel is almost, maybe she needs the ring to be set free from chains. That's what I was thinking. Could be an interesting thing where maybe, Elrond gives her Nenya back and she, casts away Adar and everyone escapes. Do you think, of course, Ulmo, we know that Galadriel's also in a cage at one point. How do you think she will escape? Because of course she's gonna have to escape. I doubt it's gonna be, 5, 6 eps basically, sorry, the rest of the season just pretty much in a cage. So how do you think she will escape right here?
I think she's just gonna escape through the front door by Adar, because knowing Adar and the way that he plays tricks on the mind. I mean, he's kind of a. I mean, whether he likes it or not, he gives me like fanboy Sauron type of vibes, where he's like pretending to be like a big brain kind of guy, but like actually he's not that clever compared to Sauron, obviously. I really think that there's a very big chance that he's just gonna be like, yeah, okay, go ahead and do whatever you want to do, and actually it backfires onto him. I think that's a possibility. I mean, either that or she gets saved by elves, although like I think that's very less likely.
Mhm.
I think there's no chance that Adar gets a hold of Galadriel's ring, because if he does, the ring seems like a thing that's very difficult to give up. You're not
Yeah.
going to get it and not put it on. So if he
Hmm.
puts it on at that point, why would he give it up? If he has his entire army plus the ring, why would he give it up? It would just be even more powerful. So the only option I could think of, which people aren't going to want to hear, would be Adar then fights Sauron, who then kills Adar, and then offers the ring back to Galadriel in hopes that she will this time not rebuke his offer to become the queen, and then they can have their moment there. Maybe she steals it, and maybe I don't know, but I feel like if Adar had it, he wouldn't give it up.
Yeah. And we do know they need it to defeat Sauron. You need the crown and the ring. That was the um I don't think that's been mentioned yet. But moving on, I think yeah, it will be interesting to see perhaps she'll be caged and forced to watch that would be really, really brutal. And one other thing, we know there's some big battle charge led by Elrond. Do you think we'll see this in the next episode at all? Because I feel like that's gonna has to be one of the coolest moments from the battle probably. So do you guys Uma, what do you think?
You mean about a battle in
Yeah, do you
general?
think we'll see that
Yeah,
charge?
I
Elrond
think
showing
so.
up.
The Elrond charge, yeah, for sure. I hope what I kind of hope for is that we're gonna see something along, because what we've seen so far with Rings of Power is that they've taken a lot of inspirations or nods towards Lord of the Rings. For example, we've seen the way that they portrayed Shelob, and the way that the camera angles and the camera work and the music really really felt like the third movie in the Lord of the Rings. So I'm hoping that in this battle it's gonna be kind of the same as in Helm's Deep. With that, I mean that we're gonna see multiple levels of fighting. It's not just gonna be like, okay, let's just brute force it and just pray, and we have higher numbers and therefore we're gonna win kind of thing. It has to be like more strategical, like some plot points, so to speak, of like sensitive spots where Erigion's walls are not as strong and they want to get through it. I'm not saying that we have to have a kamikaze Urukai again, but that kind of vibe has to happen in order for it to be really as interesting as another battle.
I think what I would like to see most in the next episode, and yes, I mean this is going to be such an epic moment when we get to this. Like, hold on, can you go back just a little bit? Go back to basically the end of the clip where you just were. Yeah, go forward a little bit where you can see the orc. Is that move your mouse to the middle of the screen? Scroll right there. Yep, right there. Is that Galadriel in a cage?
Yo, she's just chilling.
Is
That's a night.
that's
Yo, Varking,
where's Galadriel's ring right now in the show? She doesn't
Varking,
have it with Adar, does she?
Varking. For a dwarf, you have very good eyes. I'm just saying.
Well, Harry just I mean, good job editing, but he just had the other shot up a little bit ago of her
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
cage, and we haven't seen it yet. So
No, no, yeah.
clearly,
That's a
it
good
looks
question.
like it looks like Adar knows Elrond and team are coming, and he's like, but we got this girl right here. You sure you still want to charge? That's 100%. But you know what's upsetting in this? What my dwarven eye can't see? I don't see Damrod, so he's not around because I feel
He's
like
chilling. He's eating dragon bones. Can you let him eat in peace or what?
because it would be like this cool moment where they charge and just before they clash, they stop because they see Galadriel and they don't want to bring harm to her or cause any issues. But Damrod being Damrod, he's just here for chaos and he starts swinging on some elves. We get a couple knockouts, crushed heads and skulls, and then they have to fight anyway because that's like what would happen if a fight broke out. The comments are saying no, she doesn't have her ring.
I You're working with that. I cannot disagree because it's elves, and we've seen it in season one that like elves have like, I mean, we know it in the lore, but they have like a very good eyesight, so they would know way beforehand that there's Galadriel there. There's no way in hell you're gonna miss that. I mean, if you see it as a dwarf, they're gonna see it as elves like from way
Mhm.
further ahead.
Yeah,
That's
no, you're
the way
right.
that's
Their eyesight is a great, and they established that, but they didn't see the deception of Sauron coming, did they?
yeah, but sorry,
And
wait, yeah, right.
hold on. Who's the one person in the show that it doesn't matter how many times Anatar shows up, comes around, pitches whatever he's got. There's one person, one dwarf who's like, I don't can trust that guy. It's Prince Durin, dwarf baby. So maybe the dwarves have a little bit better vision. Plus, we see in the nighttime a little bit better. That's why we had a, you know, we can afford for things to close down and fall down and
Um,
put up some
Doing
fire.
episode 5 without you was such a blessing.
It's been a very very busy time for me.
No, I'm
Do we
joking.
think?
No,
Hold on,
I
somebody asked. Do we think we will see Elrond coming to Durin for aid? And so
100%.
again, we see right here. You know what? God, I love the comments because then you can start to like piece stuff together. This Elrond still has to go to, I assume, pitch Durin for aid. So maybe that's what's in the next episode. So we don't get this type of charge until that next episode after that or something, or maybe this happens in 8 because there's still a lot that we know these other characters have to go through still. And yeah, I mean, based on what was said during the trailers, it seems like somebody's asking him to pick up his axe and come help him out. So we still have that. And then we've not seen anything of like dwarves charging into battle or riding animals of some sort. I'm assuming we don't ride horses because
A bit too tall for you, innit?
we wouldn't be able to get up on them. So, how do the dwarves get there? Hopefully, we can find that out. That would be great to see on screen. But yeah, there's still so much to come that yeah, I think this death to our foes moment doesn't happen in this upcoming episode.
Yeah, Varking, I wanna address something because the way that the scene is put together, right? Like what we've seen, this feels to me, or at least I hope that this is not the next episode, but maybe like further down the line where Aragon is already sacked or to some degree sacked, because it wouldn't make sense if you're attacking headfirst a city that you're suddenly like changing your entire direction of focus towards somewhere else, right? This gives me the vibes of again, I'm comparing it to Helm's Deep, and it's like a very high standards to uphold, but um I'm comparing it to Helm's Deep where the ride of the Rohan, or rather of the ones of Eomer's, are coming eventually, but it's not like immediately, right? That's what I'm referring to, because it's not the same thing. It doesn't give the same vibe of we're still conquering it, rather than we've already conquered or destroyed or sacked a region. That's kind of what I'm going for.
Some of the
Mhm.
other comments,
Yep.
somebody asked, recovering twink. I'm not going to read the name. I guess it's possible that Elrond said his word to Durin rather than going himself. You know,
Mm,
I
I
could
mean,
see it, but it would feel like a cop out because if you ask 100 people, like, give me your top 3 favorite things from season 1 of the show, almost 100 out of those 100 people are going to say at some point, 1, 2, or 3, it's going to say the relationship between Elrond and Durin. And we haven't had that at all in season 2. So if there was an opportunity to put them together, to give us that on screen and go, hey guys, remember the bromance you all loved? If he just sent word, it wouldn't feel as good. I would love to actually see them interact, even if it's just for a little bit, just to get the boys back together. Um,
Mm.
so it's possible, but my own preference would be, you know, if you're paying the actors and you're writing a good story, link them up for a minute at least. That's all I'm saying.
haven't we already seen that in the trailer though? Like, I remember a very distinct line. I mean, yeah,
The
he
you've
literally
heard
said,
the
"I need
chat,
I need your ex old
mhm,
friends." That's literally what he says, word for word.
but he could be telling a messenger to tell him, "I need your
Ah,
ex, old
come
friend."
on, man, not to me, barking. Come on, man,
I
stop the
know,
gabber
I know, but you
sentence.
know what?
So,
When people in the comments section are pitching it, I want to take their idea and think, could this happen in the
okay,
show?
right?
Yeah. Does Varking always get what he wants? No. So
No,
it's definitely possible. I can appreciate that take.
yeah, I think he's
Uh,
going himself. It also adds more of the. I don't know. It feels more wholesome. It feels more direct, and it also gives more reasoning as to why Elrond is gonna be so late for it, I guess. So.
Light Blinded Fool said, I think Elrond will set up the dwarves' rescue this next episode. Then the following one will be the epic battle and Elrond retreating. And then Gigi will come in on the last episode to help out. It would make sense, if Gil-galad just wanted to kind of show up and be at
Yeah.
the end of the battle rather than just, being in the thick of things.
I
Somebody
really
else had
want
a
to
good
see.
question too. Dalibor said, "Is it possible that somehow Elrond and Gil-galad will break down Celebrimbor's illusion, since one of them is a ring bearer?" I haven't even thought of that. It's a pretty dope take.
Very good. Yeah.
They would have to get close enough for the ring
Yeah,
to affect
yeah.
them.
It sounds a bit difficult.
But I
Maybe they show up to defend the city, and as they get there, they're now within range for the illusion to be broken up, and that's when we see Celebrimbor walking out into the main area, and it's all peaceful just before orcs hurl all sorts of every fiery everything their way to try to raise the city.
Okay, can I just point something out? Like, we haven't seen Gil-galad fight yet, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing that stuff on screen, because he's supposed to be like one of the
yeah.
biggest Noldor and all of that, and he's a big fighter and stuff. So we've seen him like in on armchair duty kind of thing, and I really
Yeah.
want to see him swing that. Where is it? Aglos.
Aglos, yeah. And
Yeah.
let us know in chat, write in chat if you think we'll see Aglos in action in either 6, 7, or 8. Let us know, because I'm hoping we do. Again, maybe he's more of a command in general, but I think there was some behind the scenes shots of him in battle with Aglos by
If
his
we don't,
side.
I'm
So
gonna
I'm
riot.
hoping.
So.
Yes. So yeah, let us know in chat if you think so.
I'm not a
And
big
as well.
battles person, but I really do think being able to give that time to shine in combat for Gil-galad, for Elrond, seeing Adar leading his army, actually going against another large army trying to go after the city, seeing Damrod in combat, he's got to cause some chaos and issues. We're still at some point, Arandir needs to also join up. Like, what is he going to be doing in the fight? Like, there's a lot of characters that it is going to be very interesting to see how they handle combat. Are they going to be the type that just that's my enemy, so I'm going to kill, or is it more like I'm going to try to sort of like knock them out? I don't want to kill them. I don't want to just eliminate all these people, or is it just going to be, oh, yeah, there's my boy right there.
Yeah, there we go.
Here, yep. Look, it's Arandir running at me when I haven't had breakfast. It is a rough start to my day, boy. That's a lot of Uruks in the background.
hmm Definitely. And I
But
feel like again it's showing the scale of potentially what we could be saying.
I just
Um
want to say, I don't want to be the elf hater, right? I'm not trying to be that guy. But when I watch the movies, I don't love the moments where Legolas is running up a bridge as the rocks are falling down off of it. I don't love him flipping up an elephant and doing all those acrobatics. I'm not so mad at the shield surfing because I feel like I could probably do that. But it's just when I watch it, it doesn't look smooth to me. This attack from Arandir to Damrod, oh, I just hope that it is smooth to the point where it doesn't look ultra clumsy, because that's, I don't know, it's just like my biggest grievance I have with elves in shows and movies is I know it's unrealistic, but in the story it should make sense for them to do it, but then when it looks unrealistic it takes me out of it.
Okay,
And I feel
in
like, go ahead.
can I play devil's advocate here? Because
Hmm.
I agree with what you're saying. With I mean, Legolas is very acrobatic and all of that stuff. But I mean, you have to please all the audience first of all, and it has to be somewhat cool. And secondly,
Hmm.
there's a difference between Legolas and Arondir, right? Legolas is, I mean, even if he's quote unquote a warrior, he's still a prince to some extent. So he has more of
Yeah.
this elegance that Galadriel also somewhat has at some points. And
Hmm.
Arondir is more of a peasant, if you can call it like that, in the elf realm. So he has
Yeah, you're saying he's not like
less
a
of that.
royal.
Yeah, exactly. So he can have more of a brawl kind of fighting, and we've seen it in in
That would be
episode
cooler.
7, I think, when he fought the big he fought a big one in episode 7 of season 1, right?
hmm
Where it was you saw him like splattered with his black blood and all of that stuff. So I think that's what we're gonna see. It's more of a gruesome, more of a direct, more of a bloody kind of thing compared to
Interesting.
Legolas being. I mean, he only got like hit once, I think, in like the 6 movies. So
Yeah.
And no, that
like
was a
Twice if you
Bolg,
bold as
count
well.
Bolg, yeah, no
twice.
Bolg, yeah.
Yeah, twice if you count Philly and Killy stealing his girl.
Yo, listen, okay, listen,
I'm just playing. I'm just messing. We don't talk about the Hobbit.
listen,
I'm just messing.
Mhm.
listen here, you little shit. I can call
Mm.
Manway if you want to. I can make stuff happen. I can make stuff
You can just
happen
make
for
a
you.
call, like a mob call. You just make a mob
Yeah,
call.
yeah,
Yeah, I know. I am
I can.
concerned.
But
Can you go back to that other shot of it looked like Elrond showing up at, because here's what's throwing me for a loop. 'Cause here's the nighttime, but we have that shot where he's kind of leading the army encroaching on the orcs who have Galadriel in her cage back there, and that's definitely during the daytime.
yeah,
It's like there's quite a time skip here, or at least a lot of time has lapsed during the battle to go from super bright out during the day, maybe a little bit cloudy, to it is very, very dark, definitely nighttime or early morning at this point, and just all chaos has broken loose here. And we see Elrond. I can't really make out the other characters to see if there's a Gil-galad nearby to see if maybe he snuck out or he's kind of more in the back. That way you don't position yourself to lose your leader up front, like from a strategy standpoint. Million wrote that armor though. Yeah, that armor
Yeah,
is
that
sick.
armor is sick. Like honestly, compared to because we obviously we also like a lot of memes of like people complaining about season 1 armor and stuff like that. This armor looks sick as hell, and also the fire on the right side of the screen that looks as scary as fire. That looks the kind of fire where I don't want to go anywhere near that. I want to run the opposite, you know. No, I think that they're doing really good job in season 2 for armors in general.
Oh
Adar's
yeah.
armors has been sick. Galadriel's pretty good. The Elrond one that we've seen in like shots beforehand was really really cool too. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in the full armor thingy. And also one thing I want to point out that we haven't seen before in the Lord of the Rings movies, especially for the elves. I mean, we have never seen elves go on horse first of all.
Be cool. Oh,
But no, you're funny. I'm gonna burn you. I mean, drown you to death.
I'm
No,
sure
but
YouTube guidelines will love that one, but I'm just joking.
no, but I like that they had their banners. I like that the elves had their banners when they were coming. You saw the distinctive banners. I thought that was really cool when you saw their charge. I think that was really nice for them to show.
oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and definitely. But one thing Light Blinded Fool mentions very interesting. Where's the river? Their theory is that it gets blocked by Damrod. That'll be very interesting. So again, yeah, those walls there, that's a riverbed. You can see all the dried up stuff at the bottom. And Mr.
No.
TNT
We
said,
we we
yeah.
didn't fat shame Damrod. Oh, you mean light blinded fool? He fat shamed him. I was
I
saying, but we
think
were just
Yeah.
comparing him to me. I'm allowed to fat
Oh.
shame me. I can fat shame me.
I
Yeah.
I think that Emerald maybe just takes a dump on. No, I'm checking. But I mean,
No, but
who knows? Maybe Ulmo does it. Maybe I'm in the
I could
show.
just
Who
see
knows?
Damrod
yeah,
using his like a big weapon to smack a bunch of trees, or like
True.
pushes the trees down to start creating a dam inside the. Maybe that's how he
oh,
got his name. His real name is just Roderick, but he's putting all the
Roger.
trees into the creating a
Roderick.
dam. And
Roderick.
somebody looks over and they're like, "Damn, Rod!" And just from there, like sometimes that's how you get your nickname in the streets. That's just how it happens.
Barking,
Maybe
you're
about.
you're crazy, man. Just
Light
I
Blinded
something.
know.
Fool also said, before you read this one, that
Yeah.
we probably shouldn't ever read. He said, "I want to see elves jumping from one orc head to the next as they overrun the forces, but eventually they get beat back by overwhelming numbers." We kind of had a moment like this, not quite to the extent you're saying, but when Galadriel leaves the other elves to go fight the orcs, she takes on a whole bunch of them before eventually she gets pulled down and there's too many, and Adar comes over and puts his hand on the arrow and makes it not fiery anymore. So she had like that heroic elven. She thought she was in Fortnite and was gonna 99 v1 and take them all out. Like they had that. They had that. Damrod
But
can never have too many second breakfasts. By the way.
yeah,
Are,
exactly.
are you talking about yourself there? Which one is it?
We
um,
just like it's not a second breakfast if you just never stop having breakfast. If you just keep it going
yeah.
throughout the day,
True
okay?
that. It's called a
Somebody
But
buffet.
said,
no, wait. Somebody, what's it called? Let's see quickly a few theories about how the river will get dammed.
mm,
Um, Doge says maybe a Balrog will attack her again. Maybe he leaves Khazad-dûm. Durin goes too deep, leaves Khazad-dûm, and then yeah, he dries the river.
And just imagine him like
uh,
going for a stroll. He just goes for a
Yeah,
stroll, goes to Oregon, and then goes back to Khazad-dûm just to chill.
yeah.
Doge, does this mean the Balrog will have killed dwarves to then go to this? Because then no, I don't like it anymore. But if you just mean the Balrogs, like the dwarves are probably too mighty and too strong for me,
Jesus
I'm gonna
Christ.
leave here and I'm gonna go to the river and oh, what's happening over here at this river? There's a fight going on? And then he's like, let me stop this water from going forward so I can walk through it. That way the water doesn't put out my fires. Because
Yeah.
what does a Balrog look like if you don't have fire on him? Then I'm okay with it.
Working. I don't know when the fall is gonna happen of Khazad-dûm, but I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna be watching that on repeat, my guy.
Nope. I don't think that's a thing. I think I'm gonna rip that from any pages of anything I've ever had, just so I don't have to read that anymore. Somebody said episode 6 will begin with the siege of Eregion. I'd love that if it just hit you with the action right away, but I just think, as others have pointed out, there's just so much we have to get through still. I don't think we can have it at the start of the episode. Mr. TNT said, I think at the end, the shot of Adar running with the orcs is the orcs cornering the elves, like the orcs cornered the dwarves in TH, which I'm assuming is the Hobbit.
The Hobbit. Yeah.
Possible. But
Yeah.
you think he's with the orcs, or you think he's gonna like he's trying to go back at the orcs? Because I feel like the orcs have taken away everything from him, and I just can't see him trying to align with them at this point.
Yeah.
Just like I can't see Galadriel and Adar aligning at this point, even if it is the enemy of my enemy, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
It makes even less sense for me for it to be Adar aligning or Arondir aligning with them.
But I think now for the battle, we've covered a lot with the battle. I think Varkin, now I think for you, Your speciality. Let's go to the dwarves. What do you think? Do you think we'll see an Anatar in Khazad-dûm? What do you think?
That's another shot from another trailer or teaser or some sort of marketing thing where we know Anatar is in Khazad-dûm. What is that? What is that?
Mm.
Right now, take this off.
Nope, I think it's gonna have to stay there because what does that look like in the fire?
Um,
Barking, just face your fears.
This is good editing by Harry to be able to put this in here because I know in the show we're not
Mm,
going there. We're not having the
yeah.
Balrog come around. Nobody's harming dwarves. But like, why would this be happening? Like, just trying to like look at Anatar here. He obviously doesn't look happy, but we know the Balrog is already awake. He was awoken in season 1. He's up. He's around. He's about. So like, what is this? Is he summoning it? Is he creating a little Balrog to go somewhere? Like, it's a very confusing shot.
Aw.
And
I
we know
stand for
Anatar is
baby
going to be in
Balrog.
Khazad-dûm, and I could definitely look if they want to make a plush baby Balrog. That's the only time I'm
Yeah,
okay with it.
I would buy that instantly and just send it to you. That's what I would do.
But I do think Anatar in Khazad-dûm can still do further corruption of other dwarves. You know, is he able to corrupt Disa in some way that would, by proxy, corrupt Prince Durin? Does he need to corrupt King Durin the Third any further? I think he's already kind of on the path that he's on, so he doesn't need more corruption. Why is Anatar in Khazad-dûm? What? I don't like. Why would he make that trip? We know how important the ring making is to him right now. So why would he leave the ring making area to go take a visit to the Durins and Narvis of the world? Like, what would cause him to need to leave?
I have an idea. I actually have a semi idea. I mean, this is a bit out there, but what if he leaves for the 7, right? And then like while he's away, that's when Calibrimor like comes back to his senses, and that's when he comes back. There's this whole conversation of the what have you done to me and all of that stuff.
It it has to take place before the fighting breaks out because there's no way he can leave the city, corrupt whatever BS he's on in this little image, and then walk back and get into the city once again while all the fighting is happening. And like it's and yes, you know, Baby Durin is sus of him. He's the only one. He's the only one that to his face when he shows up and he's pitching his little things left and right. He's like, "Who is this guy? Why is this guy lying to me? Why is he even talking? What's your name? I don't even believe that." Prince Durin's on him, you know? So if you didn't respect him in season 1, you should respect him now. He's the one person. Father, take off the ring. Is this going to lead to a little bit of action between these two?
Potentially, because I think, is it in here? Second later, he gets
I think.
boom.
Dang.
What do you think of this, man? Look at that. That's some distance. Look at that.
He King Durin went with that monk build in Dungeons and Dragons and hit him with the crazy backhand.
Yep.
That's
Look at that.
just look at how much gold is around King Durin now at this point. Like they are amassing quite the hoard. And again,
Can,
it
can you
sucks.
just address it? Can you just address the elephant in the room instead of like coping?
What is the elephant in the room?
That he's pushing his son, right? It's like that they're fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, which sucks because like we see time and time again Prince Durin is having this moment where he knows he needs to stand up to him, but at the same time that's still his dad. It's kind of like when you look at your friend or brother or just another relative that you've grown up with your whole life. You've seen them do incredible things, moments where you're ultra proud of them, and then they do something that you're not proud of anymore or you just can't agree with. Like that struggle of deciding, like, do I just cut this
Yeah.
person off? Do I stop talking to them? Like what needs to be done? And then it gets to the point where now it's not just verbal between the two of them. They don't just walk away from one another. Now it's actually come to blows. They're hitting each other. Like this is when JD and Patrick told me before season 1, don't worry, I got you. this is the thing that scares me because I love both these characters. So I hope whatever it is, it's gonna make sense in the moment and it's gonna be decent on screen and it leads to further character development, ideally for Prince Durin. But if it helps King Durin out too, I'll take it for right now. But very clearly, Prince Durin is not able to get the ring off of King Durin's hand right here.
And yeah, we shall see. I think even the comments are trying to say, yeah, trying to get Durin to stop using the ring. I think that's the general testament. I think they agree with you, Barking. So yeah, we'll see how that all plays out, of course, with again an Adar in the mist as well. And before we finish today's stream, let's the episode 6. I think it's called Where Is He? And the poster
Ooh.
face is in fact sorry?
I was just marveling at
Oh.
Miriel putting her hand on Elendil on Elendil's
Oh
chest.
yeah. And we can get to that in a second as well, but do you think this man's going to be important in the episode? Fadazon, what do you think? Uma, I'll start with you. What's going to happen in Númenor? Do you think the Kingsmen are like get more of a control?
Yeah, I think it's gonna end up badly in Númenor just in general because after the death of Valandil, I mean, it's already a bad situation as it is, and it's kind of the last string, the last straw that broke the camel's back, right? That's the thing that's gonna make Elendil completely explode and be like, I've lost my son, or that's what he thinks, at least, and now I lost kind of my adoptive son, or like the closest thing that I had to my son, and now he wants to find something to get back. So maybe he's going to find his son wherever. I mean, the other son, I forgot his name, but I mean Gregory. I'm sure you know which one it is.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to try to find his other son that's also in Númenor and try to gather some strength and power
Anarion?
to. Yeah, that one. I don't like Númenorians, as you can guess from my
Mm-hmm.
name. So yeah, but that's my idea in general.
Perfect. And yep, welcome with you before we wrap up.
I feel like we know some things are still coming, and based on how the last episodes with the Númenorians have gone, we still have like the that shot from the water where it looks like Muriel is in the water and there's like a sea creature or whatever it is. Like that's still got to come up. So at some
Definitely.
point, I'm assuming that Fadazon is the one who's leading that, but also probably Lord Belzegar because he's kind of a douche. That dude, as much as I dislike Kemen, I dislike that dude too because he's just shown up and caused all sorts of issues. But yeah, we need to get her to go through the trial, and then I guess the big moment would be seeing if she lives. How does the public react? How does Fadazon react?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I don't think she's going to die, but then it just becomes what happens from there at this point. Like how this if she
Definitely.
passes this trial, is she just queen outright again? And Farazan has no power, or Farazan's that kind of dude who finds a way to flip everything into his favor. So like where does he go? How does he also recover from this? He's almost as slimy as Sauron is in terms of deceiving people and getting what he wants.
Yeah. So then do you guys think we'll see the sea monster and this trial in the next episode? What do you think? Do you think this is what it is? We'll see this part in the next episode. Omar, I'll stay with you as you are the king of the seas. So what do you think?
Okay, so I have a sensitive. This is a sensitive conversation for me because that's
Mm-hmm.
part of my realm, and I don't like to talk about it. The same way that our dear and beloved Sparking doesn't like to talk about the B words.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather not associate with that kind of creature. First of all, no, I think in episode 6, we're definitely going to see it. I don't see where else it would fit unless we're going to go down the route of having the 3 episode battle be scattered around and only be shown like in snippets, so to speak. So like maybe like 10 minutes at the beginning of the episodes. I mean 7, not 6, but 10 minutes. Then we watch Numenor, or we watch the Harfoots, and then 10 minutes, and so on and so forth.
Interesting, interesting. And Mickey
Ooh.
Mouse provides an interesting comment. Perhaps he'll offer her the chance to rule through marriage with him. What do you guys
That
think?
That could totally happen. So they have the little sea trial. She comes back out of it victorious. Yay, Muriel's not dead. And then he's like, hey, half the people follow me, half the people want to follow you. Why don't we just like link up and have all the people follow us? And then like kind of like what Sauron wanted with Galadriel, which was kind of like a you balance me out, I balance you out, with both of us in charge of Númenor, the type of balance that we're looking for, a little bit of the old and a little bit of the new, and this will be how we forge our path forward. I could actually see that happening. That's kind of a good question, cool take, and again, just based on some of the story that we know, it would make a little bit of sense. So
Yeah,
yeah, great
and
comment from Mickey Mouse.
indeed, indeed. And the final thing, Elendil, what are we going to be seeing with him? Do we feel like he's gonna have to go and almost, not? We are seeing some potentially romantic relationship building between the two. Do you think he will go in the way for his queen? Because it almost seems like Millie saying, "No, don't do this. You don't have to do this." And then Lendo's like, "No, I have to." We've seen this dynamic, and of course, thank you, Mr. TNT. Yes, go give this stream a like. But yeah, I'm potentially seeing this might potentially be a big thing in this episode, especially if, of course, Miriel is going to be ending up, going and doing that trial. So yes, that is one thing. And one thing Mr. TNT quickly mentioned is that a description from episode 6 is a brief fight scene results in sight of black blood as fantastical creatures are slashed and shot with arrows, and that's from Amazon themselves. So that's first official stuff we've got for episode 6. So I think what that's in reference to is a lot of this and a lot of this. So I think if you're not hyped already, I think it's looking like we're going to be getting quite a lot of action in the next episode, which is exciting.
I'll take
And
it.
indeed, indeed. And I think before we wrap up, we'll go to Joey's thoughts on Twitter. Of course, thank you by the way to everyone joining from Twitter. Of course, we always get big numbers on that side. So I think we've also apparently got like 200 to 300 people on Twitter, I think. So appreciate that. Joey says, I think the episode will start with Adar talking to Galadriel at dinner, trying to get her to join forces. Maybe she'll agree, but when she sees him attack Aegon, she'll escape at first opportunity and run into Aronde, who just arrives. So do you think Aronde will help Galadriel, given that, of course, Aronde hates Adar? Personal vendetta against Adar since season 1. Olmo, do you think Aronde might have a part to play in Galadriel's escape?
I don't think so. I don't see that happening. I don't think that's possible, but we're gonna have to wait and see. I just
Well,
don't see it working.
well, for me, I don't think it's that far out of a possibility, given that Aronde is in the woods and everything. That's why we know is we see some shots of him there. So yeah, I think that's potentially could work. It'll be very interesting to see. And recovering Twink says, the reason I'm bullish on the marriage plot, I think we're going back here, is because it makes Elendil and Muriel more star-crossed for dramatic effect. I think I can see that. And again, if the big thing here is, do we even get to the marriage plot? In my opinion, I think we're going to have to wait, and see if the show will even go that route. But I think they haven't held back in some places, and I think this marriage thing could potentially bring out something quite tricky. And thank you, Million. See you on the other side, yes. And again, and Storyteller again says the eagle was perplexed. Definitely it was. But by the way, it's great that we've got 81 people live on YouTube. Always appreciate that. And I think, yes, Barking, what's your biggest prediction, or one prediction you're looking most forward to for the next episode?
It will be cool to see, obviously, the weaving of all these stories, also following up on a phenomenal episode 5 to see if they can kind of take this to even higher heights. But it'll just be cool to see somehow, some way, that where the Númenorian story is going and all the drama around it, that this will somehow all turn out to be a audience fault. So, looking forward to that for sure.
And that's one we'd even mentioned today. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how she plays. in the next episodes. And yep, Ulmo,
Yeah, I agree with what King is saying. We're gonna have to wait and see, I guess.
such an amazing answer. Wow, I'm joking. What about
Riveting
the
stuff.
battle? Yeah, riveting, riveting. But no, what about the battle? Ulmo, are you excited for that? You think we'll see the start of that?
I hope so. I hope we either see the preparation or like the reasoning why. I want to see some developments. I don't want to just see like a straight up battle of like people, numerous people fighting each other and dying and stuff like that. Because that's like at the end of the day, it's excited for maybe 5 minutes and then it gets boring. There needs to be reasons why they fight. I mean, yeah, of course there's stakes on both sides, but I mean with that I mean like there needs to be steps. There needs to be things holding them back and then like small victories and then small defeats on both sides so that you can have this sense of like developments into the story and into the battle as a whole.
I think
Fair
just the
enough.
biggest thing is for a lot of people, I think how they view the season is going to come down to how the next few episodes play out to end the season. If they're really big on the big giant battle, then I think that, they're going to love for the most part this season. If they think the battle's not good, then it's going to kind of go the other way and not be so great. But kind of like what Light Blinded Fool's saying. I want to know if Damrod is looking for Sauron to follow him or kill him. Getting them two together on screen would be awesome to see. And again, he did call him out by name. Like, where is he? Like, he's the one looking for him right now, obviously. So it'd be cool if he seems like he doesn't care who's in front of him. He just wants to fight something big, cool, kind of like a Slayer from Warhammer. For those that do dabble in other fantasy lore, Slayers, their job is to go out and try to die, but doing it against the greatest battle or fight that they could possibly be in, so that they like regain honor. Maybe Damrod is kind of like that, where he's at a point in his life where the only thing that really moves the needle for him is fighting something that other people are scared of. That's why he eats dragon bones.
I think Dragon Bones is the best way to put it. And
Yeah.
yes, I think exciting to see if again, yep, I mentioned that here. And yes, ZST is correct there. But yeah, I think now we'll see you on the other side. Varkin, do you wanna wrap up for us here? And this I think a good
Yeah.
picture to display that. See you on the other side of episode 6.
Yep. And just real quick, somebody said, no way. Anatar doesn't go to Khazad-dûm. He is too busy isolating and manipulating Celebrimbor. But we have footage that shows that he has to be in Khazad-dûm at some point, and we haven't seen it yet. So we do know that it is coming up. And so it's got to be this episode before everything starts really, really going like just all over the place to end the season. But yeah, it's fun doing these streams with you guys, especially kind of trying to predict what's going to happen in the next episode. And we can look back and go, how many did we get right? How many times was Olmo just way off the mark, not even close?
Hmm.
And it's fun to interact with you guys and see the comments and see everybody else's predictions. And I think even just during this stream, we probably had 4 or 5 moments where somebody in the audience pitched an idea and it was something we hadn't even thought of yet. And we're talking about and discussing the show all the time. So to see like a different take, it's cool. So it just shows you
Yeah.
how much of a community we've grown, and we appreciate all the ideas that people put in the chat. It's fun to go through this with you guys. Doing the streams is a ton of fun. Chatting
And
in
sorry to
Discord, if you
interject.
guys.
I think
No, go
ending on
ahead.
85 as well is crazy, live viewers wise, throughout. So and I appreciate that. I think this is what we enjoy doing most. So yeah, back to you,
Yeah.
Barking.
So yeah, I was just gonna say, if you're looking to chat with the group in between episodes, join the Discord server. Hit us up on the website or any of our social media platforms. We're pretty quick to reply to things, except on Twitter. We get a lot of DMs on Twitter. So reach out to us elsewhere. Better chance your question or statement gets through. But yeah, would love to have you guys tune in on the next one and mock us for the things that we got wrong and cheer for all the stuff that we also got right. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.